Hello, people of YouTube. In this video, I want to talk specifically about India. I have been watching many videos on India lately and looking at birth rate statistics, and in a lot of the poor areas, as we all know, poor people like to have lots of children. Anytime I've ever gone into the hood, a lot of and I'm not. This is not a stereotype. I'm telling you what I've seen. Anytime I've gone into the hood before, and interacted with a few of the people I've seen in different hoods, most of the women there have what, like 4 or 5 kids. Like usually the Hispanic and black people in the hoods, and even white people. It doesn't matter who, but anybody that lives in poor areas in the hood, even in America, will typically have between like 3 and 4 kids. From what I've seen, poor people have more kids, and it doesn't. It I understand why, but from like an intellectual perspective, I don't understand how people could be that stupid. To I mean, I get you want to have children so that you can support yourself. The more kids you have, the more you can use your kids for like manual labor, so you can get more money. But I mean, in reality, if you're popping out like 3, 4, 5 kids in your lifetime, you're gonna have a lot of stress to deal with having a bunch of kids, and it's not only immoral, to put kids in that sort of environment, where there's trash and where there's, loud noises, and where there's like, molestery Indian men everywhere. And by the way, it's not even a stereotype. It's like a fact. Most men in India are very molestery. They like to, grope women and stuff a whole lot. I hear it all the time. I hear it so much. It's not even like an opinion. It's not even like a thing in some areas. It's like everywhere. Except for places I think like Delhi, New Delhi, or whatever, where like the wealthier people live. There's a lot less like rape and molestation, and obviously poverty doesn't exist too much in the wealthier areas, of course, and there's less crime, there's less theft, there's less pollution in some parts of the nicer areas, but there's pollution everywhere. And when you have a massive population, not only do the kids have to suffer, but you have more trash. You have more pollution. The air gets poisoned. The water. Look at the rivers in India. Their sacred rivers are covered in. They're filled with trash. They're disgusting rivers. I wouldn't even swim in one of those rivers if someone paid me thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would not do it. I won't do it. It's disgusting. India is filthy and disgusting. I don't care what anybody says. India is filled with trash. It is filled with too many people. And this is why contraceptives are a good thing. Condoms are a good thing. Removing reproductive organs is a good thing, and that's why I'm trying to promote in this video the removal of reproductive organs at birth. I mean, with males, they remove foreskins when you're born. I didn't consent to having my foreskin removed, so why not for women, or for both women and men? I think if men have to have the reproductive organs removed, women should too. And in my opinion, I think it would be best if at birth babies have the reproductive organs removed. Um, excuse me, to prevent. Now I understand there's some complications that could come along with that, but I think it's no big deal. People that aren't producing hormones could just be given hormone supplements or whatever. That could be kind of easily fixed, I feel like, but it wouldn't be a very big deal. I think that children at birth should be, mandatorily, have their reproductive organs removed, especially in places like India, where the population rate continues to rise. Um, and I mean, there's just so many people there, so much trash. I mean, I've seen the videos. There's literally a mountain in India called Trash Mountain. It's literally like half a mile tall. I mean, it's literally like It's like well over 1,000 feet tall, and it's a massive mountain covered in trash. And I mean, do you have any idea like how much trash you have to collect to create something that mass? It's so big. You should look it up. But the pollution rates in India are reaching like hazardous levels, and they're only continuing to rise. You know, don't look for them to get any better. Don't expect these you know air quality the pollution in the air to decrease. Don't look for it to decrease anytime like at all ever, because it's not going to until the population decreases. There's too many people in India. And and I'm sorry to say, but if I'm being honest, in my opinion, the genetics in India are pretty bad, in my opinion. The unibrows and the badly shaped faces. I mean, a lot of people in this image here are pretty good looking, but most people in India, from what I've seen, have pretty bad genetics, and part of it has to do with the pollution. That's just being real here. The pollution is causing a lot of like mutations and like really inferior genetics, and when you have poor people that aren't very attractive and they're having lots of kids, they're passing on their shitty genetics, and that's just reality, bro. Like, don't cry about it. That's just reality. And so in India is it's not getting any better. And imagine if the Indian population reaches 2 billion or 3 billion or 4 billion in the next few years. I mean, like, can you imagine like just how bad the pollution will get? China has terrible pollution. India has terrible pollution, and it's because of their massive population. I mean, it's no mystery. The only reason why there's so much trash and pollution and degeneracy and really poor genetics is because of all the people. The people have caused all the problems. It's the only problem is the mass population. If India, can you imagine if India only had 100 million people, there would be so much less trash. There would be like almost no pollution at all. India would probably be, I don't know, worthy of touring. I mean, the only reason I think why most people don't want to tour India is just because of the sheer amount of trash and all the traffic, all the noise, it's all the greed and the deception. There's so many scammers in India. Those call centers, all in India, all the scams, all the lies, all the degeneracy is caused mainly by Indian people. A lot of most of the scam call centers in the world, I believe, are in India. India is full of degeneracy, and when poor, desperate people are willing to do anything for money, you get crime, you get manipulation, you get immoral behavior, and India is a breeding ground for trash, massive pollution, massive corruption, massive crime, massive amounts of poor genetics being spread around the world. India is and not only is it bad for the poor people, but it's also bad for the wealthy people in India that can't get a job because there's so many people trying to apply, whether it be poor or other wealthy people. I mean, the population is so massive, and that's kind of what this video is partly about. India's population is so massive that even very wealthy people have a hard time, you know, um, you know, getting a job. Like, not wealthy people, but people that have a good education obviously typically have money. But even people with a good education can't find jobs. The population is too big, and the laws um, India need to change. The only reason why they don't is because the people in power don't want to offend the citizens, with some one-child policy. But it's obvious not the population rate isn't going to go down like it is in Japan or America or China. It's not going to happen in India because the people are so poor there, and they're living in so much filth that they're just going to have the very strong urge to have more and more children. And a lot of people that follow their religion believe that there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people there are deluded. They're so not really deluded. I think some of them are fairly intelligent, but they're so they're so selfish that they're willing to bring a child into that shitty world they live in, filled with trash and degeneracy, and it's never going to stop until something big is done about it, you know. But anyway, I just wanted to rant about India because it's a pretty shitty place, metaphorically and literally speaking. There's massive, like, there's mountains of shit there, and trash and all that. So yeah, quite literally. So yeah. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.